Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Broadband Universe. I'm Craig Corbin. So glad that you could join us today. Broadband Universe brought to you by Vitruvi, the end-to-end GIS-based construction management platform. Build faster, reduce costs, and improve quality. Also by Lit Communities. Light up your community. You deserve better internet. And appropriately, it's a pleasure to welcome our guest today, the CEO of Lit Communities, Brian Snider. Brian, welcome.
Thanks, Craig. It's always good to talk to you, whether it's in front of people or they're listening or not listening.
Absolutely, and so much has been going on since our last visit. Lit Communities, without question, one of the busiest teams out there, and so much to cover when we look at the new markets that Lit is involved in. And I guess the way to kick off the conversation perhaps is a focus on the Buckeye State, because Ohio seems to be a hotbed for what you guys are doing.
Yeah, it really is right now, and it's all started with the Medina fiber project that we started construction on March of last year, and are over 700 customers now receiving service on the network, and that's moving along great. We had a rough winter. That delayed construction a little bit, but we're moving along great now. Signups are every single day. We're getting anywhere between 14 to 20 new installs scheduled. The local support around the market's been awesome. So yeah, the Medina County and the Medina County Fiber Network partnership with us has been rocking and rolling like we always thought it would be.
Absolutely. David Corrado and his phenomenal team there doing a great job. And for those that might not be familiar of what Medina County had done to create their network, give us sort of the background on how that all came about.
Yeah, so actually the county, they started looking at this almost 20 years ago, to give them credit. And they asked the hard questions of how can the county do this? How can we bring connectivity to not only businesses but residents too? And so they started behind great political leadership. Bethany Dentler, the executive director of the economic development group there, I cannot say enough good things about her. She is one of the most driven individuals I've ever met. And between her and Dave, they were like a great superhero team. And they built out an open access network in 2013 that serves businesses. It's made a huge economic impact in Medina, bringing larger businesses to the county. And they have 14 providers on the network, 151 miles. It was, I guess, 5 years ago then that we started meeting them, and that's at the same time they were trying to find a fiber to the home partner. And so the timing was great, and they were the reasons we create. They're the market why we created Lit Communities and immediately Medina Fiber.
You know, it's exciting when you talk about working with leaders who had the vision, that were ahead of the curve, that knew that connectivity in all forms was not a matter of a luxury but necessity and long-term survival, especially with regard to the economy of the local community. Obviously, that's what took place there in Medina County, and I think that the ripple effect is very substantial when we talk about what is happening from that perspective.
Yeah, it's like we're on a rocket trying to hold on right now, which is great. We absolutely love it. So we've been working with a few different counties across the state, doing our community assessment process, just like we started with Medina, 5 years ago. Well, even longer than that now. Geez, that was 8 years ago. And the interest in our model, which is a little bit more unique than most, is growing. And just recently, this week, we announced a partnership that we've been working on in the background that I think is going to be a model that could handle things nationally if you get these right leaders in place that understand the mission and can understand how to tie a unique partnership together. And so Lorraine Medina Rural Electric Cooperative and Medina County and Medina County Fiber Networks and Lit Community, we are creating a project and a new ISP for the western part of the county called Lit Fiber, which obviously we like that
Right.
name. The Medina County Fiber's middle mile network, if you looked at the county and the shape, there's really 5 corners, and there was a 5th corner that really wasn't being covered, and that was the co-op's serving territory with only about 4,500 residents, and where there was more, in certain areas there's more miles than homes. And so at first, before ARPA funds, we were brainstorming with the great folks at LMRE, Ed Van Hoos, Kathy Grotz. They saw the vision of this. They saw what they also wanted to build an AMI system to help their cooperative, but the fiber service, they needed help from that side. And, us being right there in the county, they're in the county, it made sense. The issue again was, how do we get to those areas from the middle mile network that we could build off of? We were looking at microwave wireless approaches. Then, I hate sometimes to say this, but the pandemic helped
Sure.
in a good way, because the county was able to use ARPA funds to extend their middle mile network now to cover the entire western half. It goes to Spencer. And so we will then, the cooperative LMRE is allowing certain pole support and make ready support that then also allows our capital from our private investment side to be able to pass every single home. And we will be giving them access to a fiber for every home for not only AMI systems, but future applications that they can connect directly to the home. And so you have a partnership between a co-op, a private entity, a county, and then a unique structure to the way the model was done. I think we could talk to states. We could talk to the state of Ohio. We could talk to the FCC in regards to how this could be rolled out, and it matches really the Infrastructure Jobs Act that's going to be coming out too. So we're really excited about that project. And there's another area that Medina is also using for ARPA, Guilford, that is not part of LMRE, and we structured that area to where now, once both projects are done, every single resident in the entire county will have access to broadband.
You touched on something at the beginning of that thought that I think is important with regard to the approach that the Lit Communities team takes in conversations that transpire. Not feasibility studies, but action plans, and that's a very different animal. Talk about that.
Yeah. Okay, hate's a strong word. I dislike the word feasibility study. I've always said it's always feasible. You just have to think of different ways to do it. And when we first started looking at municipal broadband, we felt like, municipalities were getting good feasibility study reports, but it was never an actionable plan on how to move forward. And we had to give them that because they didn't know how. Some did, some didn't. And from that perspective, we focus on how much does a network cost? What's the accuracy we can get into knowing that? And we want to show what's the Cadillac of networks. We're going to every dang home. We want to be able to provide 100 gig to the home eventually down the road. What is that cost going to look like? And what is it going to look like in reality from the experience we've had building them out? And then also surveying the residents, understanding what they want. What type of packages do they want to fit within their budgets? You want feedback from the community then in order to build a plan that's going to generate the revenue. And so from that side, we also believe that the municipality should own a portion of the network. Whether that be just a small portion or a bigger portion, we'll work through that through our assessment process. And then we give them a business plan, typically with 2 or 3 options on how we suggest moving forward. And we are very happy to say, I think every market we have worked through and finished our community assessment has moved forward.
That's phenomenal. And what is obvious is that this is a time-consuming, very detailed process that you go through because it's vital with regard to the potential long-term success of the effort.
Yeah, we've worked really hard on this process to make sure that our names are on
Yep.
this at the end of the day. And even though we might not continue forward with the market that we're working in, we want to leave that market knowing that they're going to go forward the right way. And so, the time that we spend making sure our financial numbers are right, and we go down to the detail of what are your electronic providers going to charge you for a yearly fee over 20 years, and how is that going to change, and how are the operations and maintenance going to work from that side. We go through and turn over every rock you can imagine. That way, there's when the municipality, whether it be a county or city, sits down, they're confident in the decision they're making, and that's all we can ask for.
Absolutely. This is the Broadband Universe podcast, brought to you in part by Vitruvi. Build faster, reduce costs, improve quality. Vitruvi. And by Lit Communities. Get the expertise you need to bring a high-speed fiber network to your hometown. When we talk about the expertise that goes into this process, I know that your team is extremely experienced in all the aspects that go into making these decisions. Talk a little bit about the makeup of the Lit Community team.
Yeah, when we set out to do this, I guess when you're building any team, sports, and business, if I went and hired a bunch of people that were like me, I don't think we'd move forward. Probably because I just argue with them a lot. So it was a goal of ours to try to find a team that fit every component of what we were trying to do, and there was a lot. Hiring a smart cities expert, John Sullivan from our team, hiring somebody that's got experience in just being an ISP that worked with Comcast and others, and Chris Skelton from our side, Jessica Fowler, who's been a select woman up in Connecticut and understands it from the municipal side and try to create a nonprofit organization, from our construction managers all the way to Renee Gonzalez, whose specialty is in grants, and backgrounds from that side where we have an entire grant team. Also, Keisha Smith works and creates all our training and development programs that we use internally, but we also, every community we go in, we try to create a workforce development program where everything is done local. That is local is what we focus on, and I feel like we built the dream team, like the back in the Olympics.
Right.
I feel like so there's going to continue to be evolution, and we're going to continue to bring in folks that want to think different. And I think we're having a good time doing this, and then we're all dedicated to work our butts off.
And what an important part of that process is the chemistry that you just talked about, moving in a single direction for success. Well, obviously we wanted to focus on the new markets that Lit is getting into, and one that I think is as exciting as any is what's going on in Brownsville, that last mile partnership there. Some pretty interesting things going on. Talk about that if you would.
Yeah, Brownsville's special to Lit, to myself, and especially to Renee Gonzalez. He was born and raised in Brownsville, on our team, and we went through our community assessment process with them. They were voted the worst connected city with a population over 100,000, I think, for 3 or 4 straight
Wow.
years. And kudos to Mayor Mendez down there. Him and his team said no more. And we luckily they selected us to complete a community assessment and gave them a plan to build a middle mile network. They have their own electric provider there that can also leverage obviously AMI systems and things like that too. SpaceX is now
Right.
there. It has to have connectivity. Brownsville's changing for the better in so many ways, and so our partnership and what they went through in procurement is they will be building out a middle mile network that will go all across the city. We have created BTX Fiber that will be the local ISP. Again, we will create a training program, hire local, and as the middle mile network is being built out, we will sequence the last mile build out to be able to turn up customers as fast as possible. And again, Brownsville's growing and it's changing in such a positive way. It's going to be one of the better connected cities, the best connected city, and then with what's happening in regards to technology there, I think they're going to be ahead of the game in smart city applications before too long. So they're going to go from a few years ago being the worst connected city to being where cities around the country want to come visit, and technology is going to change across the board. So we're thrilled about this project.
What a phenomenal case study in the making, a connectivity rags to riches story there going on in Brownsville. Can't wait to see how that all fleshes out as we move forward. But so much excitement. Something you just mentioned, Brian, I think is important. The fact that there is always a local component to what you're doing in each community, local companies, local employees. That's vital.
That's so important to us and to the partnership that we create, because if we feel the municipality should actually at the end of the day decide what they're going to do and then own part of the network or how it's structured with a partnership with us or with somebody else, then from there, my opinion, I want to call somebody that lives right down the street and understands what type of service I have even at my home. And so in Medina County, for example, we started in the villages of Seville and Westfield Center. Only 500 homes in Westfield Center and about 1,400 homes in Seville. And we opened a demonstration center. That's where we handle all our calls. That's where we also show residents different internet packages, services, telehealth. We teach Streaming 101 classes there. And then we establish training programs for call center expansion, installers now. We're going to start bringing that in-house more and more. And really we're going to be sending a bunch of crews in to do a lot of work as fast as we can in an efficient way in a few years, but this network's going to be here forever. And so it's those long-term jobs we want to hire not only the people that are already there, but bring in new folks because they're so excited about what can be done there. And then they also have the ability to work from home in a whole different way. So our local aspect and the way we partner, I think, is unique. And we will never stop that no matter what market we go to.
What a hugely important foundation that you just described. And that's something that really does make it possible for the long-term success, transformative success in each of these communities. It's exciting to see what's going on at LIT. So proud to be a part of spreading that message. And for those who might want to learn more about the way to get in contact with you and the team at LIT, what's the best way?
You can visit litcommunities.net. LITCOMMUNITIES.net.
I love it.
Litcommunities.net and even on there, we offer free just initial consultations with communities, even if where do I start? That's a lot. Obviously, the first question we get when folks are just now looking into this. So, yeah, litcommunities.net, and our team would love to talk to any community out there, even if we move forward with them or not.
It is such an important time to be having those conversations. I truly believe we are in the golden age, a golden opportunity for communities all across the country to take advantage of the expertise that you and the LIT Communities team bring to the table. Can't thank you enough for the opportunity to catch up, and I can't wait for the next time that we have a chance to chat.
Yeah, we're going to be giving you some more updates, new markets, and giving you updates on the current market. So it's always great to talk to you, Craig. Thank you for spreading the word. Yeah, let's keep doing this the right way.
Absolutely. And we thank everyone for letting us be a part of your day. We'll see you next time right here on the Broadband Universe. So long, everybody.